things. I never told you that I knew everything. But there's one thing that I do know. It's that we need to get back to basics. You have to understand where you come from in order for you to get a handle on where you at today. I wholeheartedly believe that. Yesterday we went over ancestral wisdom, where we were talking about African traditional religions and hoodoo, and how the two of those systems, when put together, benefits our community. Why? Because it brings us back to basics to understand where they came from, why this is incorporated, why is this going to help us, why. So I wanted to go back and revisit some of the things that we've been talking about for over the years that I have been here on this platform. Welcome to Blended Hymn. Why does hoodoo feel both familiar and deep? Because we lived in it, going from generation to generation to generation, things that are being done that you don't even think is some of the things that were taught all the way from back then till today. We use some of these traditions and you didn't even know. You see, some of these nations, the Yoruba, the Akan, the Congo, and others were blended together through force. They had no choice but to depend on each other to survive. And the memories that they had to hold on to of the things that they knew from the motherland. And they held their core beliefs. That's why hoodoo feels straightforward, hands-on, ancestral, protective, personal, practical, and deep. It's a mix of the Yoruba discipline, the Akan ancestor grounding, the Congo spiritual mechanics, the Igbo destiny work, all reshaped by the life Black people had to live here. That's why hoodoo works, because it was built for pressure, hardship, and for people who had to rely on their ancestors, their instincts and surroundings in order to stay safe and to stay sane. Mindful living hits a little different when you look at it through the lens of African traditional religions and hoodoo, because these systems weren't created for people sitting in their illusion based on perfect comfort. I don't care how much you run. I don't care how much you gain. I'm going to tell you this. You run up on the right people, right? The others are still looking at you like you less than. What makes you equivalent to all of us standing on the ground. That's illusion based on perfect comfort. You see, they were created for people who needed direction, protection, grounding, and calm while dealing with real pressure. They teach you how to steady yourself in a world that keeps pulling you in every different direction. Hoodoo shows you how to work with what's already in your house, your yard, your kitchen, your hands, herbs, roots, oils, dirt, the Psalms, teas, candles, water, written petitions, Nothing was wasted, and there was nothing extra. Everything a practitioner did was intentional. What they all did was intentional. Everything had a function. And Hoodoo teaches you that your life doesn't change because you bought new tools. It changes because you know how to use what's in front of you. When you clean your floor, right, with purpose. When you make a tea for your nerves. When you wipe down your doors, when you speak over your water, that's mindfulness from an ancestral perspective. It's simple and it keeps you from spinning out. As far as the African traditional religions go, it gave or gives you the structure behind the mindset. They teach you respect, order, consistency, and relationship with your ancestors, with your Ore, your head spirit, and with the forces that guide your life. They remind you that you don't move on instinct alone. You move with protocol, conversation, and awareness. ATR slows you down enough to listen. It keeps you accountable to your spirit and your bloodline. So your decisions aren't reactive. There's a method to how you wake up. Do you do a head blessing? Do you thank the divine for allowing you another day, another chance to change? Do you take your deep breaths in the morning? Do you meditate on how your day is going to be? How you pray? How you offer gratitude for your life and the things that you have, seen and unseen? How you prepare your space so the energy flows the correct way in your home. More importantly, how you carry yourself. And when you blend the two together, the hands-on practicality of hoodoo and the disciplined structure of the ATRs, mindful living becomes something real. It becomes a lifestyle. You start paying attention to your home, your energy, your body, and your choices. You don't rush into your day without grounding. I don't care if you lay in the bed, but you got to get grounded when you wake up and start giving thanks immediately. Ask for protection. Don't assume that you have protection. People say, I pray and I'm protected. Okay, that's today. Are you protected every day? Because protection will fall off. Don't get it twisted. I'm here to tell you that. It depends on the energy. It depends on what you do. It depends upon a whole lot of different things. What you came up against during your day. Don't take for granted that you're protected. Don't take it for granted. This looks like sitting with your ancestors before you start your morning. Not trying to get on your phone so fast. Going outside and breathing and touching the earth. When your thoughts get overwhelming, you may light a candle or even speak a psalm with intention because you're directing your steps instead of reacting to everything that's around you. It's getting your mind and your spirit on the same page so the rest of your life stops feeling such a much, man. Mindful living through the lens of these traditions. It's about being present, remembering that your people didn't make it this far by moving careless or disconnected. They stayed grounded because they had practices that kept them grounded and steady. But you have access to those same practices right now. You do. Let's dig a little deeper, going down the rabbit hole a little bit. Some of you already know that hoodoo came from lived experiences of Black people in the American South. People who were taken from different African nations but refused to let their spirits die. They carried a little bit of Yoruba, a little bit of Congo, a little bit of the Khan, Igbo, Mende, Wolof, Fulani, and so much more, and blended them into a system that fit the land that they were forced to be on, aka America. Hoodoo was survival wrapped in spirituality, cultural memory, passed through hands. In the deep South, not just in one place, but in the belt of a land where Africans worked, suffered, survived, and built community. The key regions of this was the Low Country, South Carolina, Georgia, and the coastal islands, the Mississippi Delta, Mississippi and Louisiana, the Gulf Coast, Alabama, southern Louisiana, and East Texas, plantation corridors of North Carolina and Virginia. Each region preserved different African elements depending on the people who lived there, the crops that were grown, and how isolated the communities were. But one region stands out above all others, and that's the Gullah Geechee corridor that goes from Jacksonville, Florida, up to Wilmington, Delaware. North Carolina, my bad, including the Sea Islands, St. Helena, Sapelo, Johns Island, Edisto, and many of those different islands. These are the areas that became Black strongholds. How? How? Because the land was brutal. It was hard to work. This is where they grew the rice, the indigo, the cotton was so intense that the plantation owners rarely even stayed. And that isolation allowed the African people to keep their languages, maintain their rituals, pass down songs and stories. They kept African social structures, practiced spiritual different systems without any heavy interference. The Gullah Geechee people didn't just keep pieces of Africa, they kept entire frameworks alive. The Gullah usually refers to the people of the Sea Islands in coastal South Carolina, Georgia area. The Geechees often refers to those further south, especially along the Georgia and northern Florida coast. But culturally, they are one group, descendants of a very heavy influence African community with very little outside influence. The Gullah Geechee people can trace deep lineage back to the Congo and Angola, Sierra Leone with the Mendes and the Tenpi people. You have Ghana with the Akanda, Fante, and the Ashantes. Nigeria with the Yoruba and Igbo. The rice coast of West Africa, people who already knew how to cultivate rice long before coming over here. influenced the culture of the Low Country, because so many of them were similar regions were brought together and their cultures fused instead of being erased. Hoodoo is the direct child of West African spirituality, Central African spirit work, European folk techniques that were blended out of necessity, indigenous plant knowledge shared by Native Americans. But the Gullah Geechee people kept the African core the strongest. And this is how it shows you how it looks in the modern age. Let's talk about it. Root work had a Congo influence. The Gullah Geechee leaders used roots, herbs, tree bark, and dirt exactly the way the Congo healers did. Root work became the backbone of hoodoo. Ancestor veneration, spirit communication, stayed strong because the culture stayed insulated, talking to ancestors, feeding them, listening to dreams, keeping their items, all preserved from African teaching. Crossword, crossroads. I don't know why I keep saying crossword. I must have to figure something out. But the crossroads work is a mix of the Congo makeup and the African ritual pathways. Water and graveyard connections, the Atlantic and the marshlands shaped the ideals of spirits traveling through water, a concept tied to Central African belief. Enslaved Africans used the Bible as a protective cover for African spells, prayers, and work. The Gullah Geechee people mastered that fusion. Hoodoo's use of Psalms comes directly from this method. The roles of conjure doctor, midwives, and root workers, African healers, divinators, and spiritual leaders. In the Gullah Geechee culture, these practitioners were respected and woven into community life. And then hand making charm bags and amulets all have African roots that were kept alive in the Low Country. What did they keep for us? African languages, African cooking, spiritual systems, herbal knowledge, rhythms, stories, songs, and protection work. The Low Country was one of the most African regions in North America for over 300 years. And if you want to understand hoodoo at its core, you cannot ignore the Gullah Geechee Nation. They are the stronghold, the keepers, the cultural memory, and they kept the practice from dissolving into folklore. Hoodoo was not shaped by magical influences. No, it came from field workers, midwives, healers, herb gatherers, watermen, fisher folk, elders, storytellers, or griots, whatever you want to call them. People who had their families alive under unimaginable pressure. And the culture came through their hands, their prayers, remedies, dreams, and knowledge of how spirit moves. They built a system that used every resource African people had left: breath, earth, water, prayer, intention, song, and memory. Oh, shit. Let's take a small break here. When I get into this subject, I go in. But I know that's a lot of information to take. But like I said, you got to know where you come from so you know where you're going. I'll be right back.
Skin like velvet, oils got me blessed. Every drop a ritual, every move finesse. Candles lit steady, aura set high. When I walk in the room, watch the envy go. Essentials only keep it real, no stress. Glow from the roots, yeah we shine, nothing less. Drip so divine, body magic in the air. Chimeka got the vibe, self-love everywhere. Essentials only keep it real, no stress. Glow from the after hours now. Ink still warm. Paint turned pretty. That's what I do. Slow hand, heavy bass, mood on hush. 808 heartbeat.
She rooted in the rhythm of the trees. Talk sweet pork, calm like teas. Queen cows with the herbs that speak. She the balance when your soul feel weak. From plant to plate, she walk with grace. Tinctures that kiss you into place. This ain't a trend, this ancient flow. She don't heal you, she helps you grow, yeah. She dropped a lemon balm in the brew.
Oh, you can't find this in the store. Not this, baby. This right here. This is customized. You better get like me.
Welcome back. Yeah, we having a sale. You think I was going to not do anything for y'all for Black Friday and through Cyber Monday? Non-select products is 30% off. Make sure, because at 12:01 Black Friday morning, I'm hitting the button. And then everything that is on sale is going to pop up. All right. All right. Please make sure that you visit www.shamakaessentials.com. Gratitude for your support. Let's continue this. In African traditional religions, right? They were considered the blueprint. And if that's the case, that means that hoodoo is the house Black Americans built from what was carried and what was remembered and what was reclaimed. And the Gullah Geechee people are the reason that house still stands. Salute to the Gullah Geechee people who need our help down there. They trying to take their land. They trying to take their land. If you're interested in the fight, make sure that you log into the Gullah Geechee Nation and see what type of assistance that you can give them. A lot of us have our roots back there, man. This is important stuff. So if you can assist Queen Quet, make sure that you do that, all right? All right. Hoodoo is the American child of Africa. It's the memory, it's adapted, it's disguised and rebuilt. It's African strategy that reshaped for a world that didn't care if they lived or died. It's African resilience. It's the spiritual language Black Americans created when every part of their freedom and humanity was under attack. That's why hoodoo feels personal. It feels inherited. It feels familiar, even if nobody ever taught you. It's because it sits in your bloodline, not in a book. And to understand hoodoo, you have to understand the people who carried the deepest parts of Africa in the South. Like I just told you about the Gullah Geechee and the sea lions, sea islands. Oh my gosh, I need another cup of coffee. Lord Jesus. Brain is moving faster than the mouth. I already broke down for you what regions came from where and what they did. You know, there's no reason for me to do that. But what I want you to know is that hoodoo, the conjure work, and the root work, and what does that really mean? It means that people mix these terms up all the time. They're not identical. And here's the truth-based difference. Hoodoo is the entire system, the culture, the worldview, the spiritual approach, the ancestor work, the herbal work, the protection practices, the prayers, the rituals, the mindset. Hoodoo is the umbrella. Conjure is the active side of hoodoo, doing spirit work with intention. It has prayer, candle work, psalms, calling on ancestors, petitioning, building spiritual force to make things happen. Conjure equals invoking power. Root work is earth-based. It includes herbs and roots and soils and teas and oils and baths and powders and natural remedies. Root work equals healing, protection, and change through plants and land. Not all root work is conjure, and not all conjure uses roots, but all of it together forms hoodoo. I ain't gonna keep you long today. I think I might end it right here because the next time we meet, we're gonna talk about how Christianity was blended into hoodoo, okay? But not replacing the African cosmology or the African way of doing things, okay? All right. Listen, y'all be well, stay safe. I say and deep bow to each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support, for being here. Those who catch the replay and my cloud watchers, I thank you more than you know. Thank you so much for your support. It means a lot. It means a lot. All right, there's no crying in baseball. I gotta go. All right, don't try to hold me. I gotta go. All right, be well. Be a good friend. Talk to you soon. Alicia Dion, take us out.
New York skyline lights, rain on the glass, healing in the present, lessons story.